Hey guys, this is Nate. I'm going to be giving a presentation on background info. And here's my thesis. Whoa, 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 spinning. Okay, so I think that throughout this year that learning about the novels and stories before we read them helped me to understand them and what was going on and what people were thinking a lot better. And now we are going to look at realism versus romanticism. Is two friends realistic or romantic? Ha 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 ha. Well, if you were with us in the first semester for when we were talking about realism versus romanticism, then you will know that Two Friends is a very realistic story. But without having studied realism or romanticism before we read the stories, would you have really known that it was a realistic story, or what even romanticism or realism was, or what even made Two Friends a realistic story? And what about Faust? Is it realistic or is it romantic? Well, we obviously know that it's a romantic play by the way that it shows a greater than life thing by the devil talking with God and Faust. That's not something that you hear or think or see every day. And whereas Two Friends, I guess getting killed and pushed into the bottom of a river is kind of normal. But it was kind of normal back in the day when during that time period. I guess that you could call that normal. But also Two Friends focused more on reality, whereas Faust looked to the supernatural almost. But we wouldn't have known that Faust and Two Friends are different stories based on what they were, their ideas of the times were, versus realism or romanticism and realism coming after that, going against romanticism. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Anthem and how I think a lot of us, me, and I know a lot of you through the seminar, we thought that if we had learned about objectivism and Ayn Rand and maybe have seen her interview with that one guy before we read the book, I think it would have been a lot more confusing, especially with the her use of the we and the us and the they and the those pronouns. And I found this really cool quote online by Tlalia P. Lebiza, and it just shows that I think if we had learned more about Ayn Rand and stuff before we read Anthem, we would have been more set up to succeed with that book. Now in the Iliad, Mr. Stereo Girl, Agamemnon takes Achilles' woman. But that may not seem like a big deal at first, but that's only if you haven't really done any background information on the Iliad. And thankfully to Mr. Kennedy, we watched the background information video on the Iliad that said that many times men would take women as their war prizes. And so Agamemnon taking Achilles' woman, Briseis, that just wasn't no cool. And so, but if I hadn't known any of that and I was Agamemnon, I would have been like, Achilles, oh, that sucks for you. This is life. I took your woman. Get used to it. But yet again, if we hadn't watched, since we watched it, it makes a lot more sense than if we hadn't watched it. Now, from Things Fall Apart, there's a lot of things that we can look at that if we hadn't studied before we read the book would have been really confusing. One of those things is yams. Yams have a very symbolic thing in Things Fall Apart, and not only Things Fall Apart, but society. And they stand for like the only food source that they need and that they can depend on. And that's we wouldn't really have got that from the book if we had, and we wouldn't have really understood that if we hadn't watched the video that Mr. Kennedy made us watch before. And also, I think that a lot of the things that Chinua Achebe was trying to display in this book, like Africa, the Africa nations have society and culture, and they're every bit as civilized as the rest of the world. And I don't think we would have gotten that if we hadn't watched the video before. And one of those like cultural things is that people are described by their wealth by how many like wives or children or barns that they have. Now I can get barns, but 9 wives. Some people might say that 9 wives is not 8 or 1 too many. And finally, because I don't want my presentation to be boring, I decided to put baby faces on here. Because who doesn't love baby faces? And aren't these just adorable? Oh my god, I'm gonna eat them alive. They're so amazing. So yeah, I hope this makes your day.